Hello, welcome to Lemon Series, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Alien Earth. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Shire, I'm to leave a like, comment below, let me know your thoughts on Alien Earth, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, Shire. So, Alien Earth. I was really looking forward to this one because I am a huge fan of the Alien franchise. I've seen every single movie. I said this in my Alien Romulus review as well, is that I am a fan and a defender of Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I would have liked to see that story follow through. And, you know, to get criticisms out of the way early on this show is that this show is retconning those two, which does upset me. And I do think there was a way to still continue that continuity within this, because I do believe this takes place either between 1 and Romulus or before Alien 1. I'm not quite sure where this takes place within the timeline on it. But regardless, I loved Alien Romulus. I think Alien has really started to find their stride. It was one of my top 10 movies of last year. Yeah, Alien Romulus came out last year. We're getting this show now. First 2 episodes now out, but how were they? I think overall they were really great episodes. I will say in the beginning, and yes, we will talk openly spoilers here on this review saga as we go forward. But the beginning with the crew on the spaceship, and this is mainly for like the whole first half. Really, I want to say the first 15-20 minutes, maybe not the whole first half because the first episode was pretty long, but the first 20 or so minutes to me was just too exposition heavy for me. Where it was just very much setting the table, saying, look, you need to know all these things. There's the different companies within Weyland, and there's all these different divisions. Here's all these different owners. Like, everything that we were doing in the beginning where, like, hey, this is like Alien. Like, you know, they did the opening shot. Everyone was slowly waking up. They had the whole dinner table scene. Everyone was even kind of dressed similarly to the cast of the original Alien as well. It was cool. Don't get me wrong. It was a very, very cool vibe. And it was also good for, like, a predecessor for another Alien movie in a lot of ways, but again, that whole conversation of the different Weyland companies and everything that was getting set up, I honestly just don't think we needed it unless we are going to go back later, because there is an episode, I think it's episode 6, because there's 8 episodes this season. Episode 6 is called In Space No One Can, and they don't finish the tagline of No One Can Hear You Scream. So I'm thinking maybe that's the episode of the crew and how we understand where our Sith droid is why he turned to the dark side and why he's turning him in and understanding his plan. And we do see that Alien movie play out throughout the whole entire hour. If that is the case, then I rectify what I am saying here, but I just don't think we needed the whole before the Alien movie that would have been before we got to the show. I think we could have saved a lot of time if we just got straight to Neverland, because even the beginning part, because I really do like the concept of, you know, a human brain going to a Sith droid, and, you know, because that is a true motive of the Alien lore, is that Weyland is on this stride. All these scientists, all these droids are just really for a stride. The mission is to find immortality, to find the ultimate life form, the xenomorph, for that matter, and how can we incorporate to the human brain, to the human body or the human brain, which is why again we get to here, and we're putting the child's brain that's really sick and putting to a Sith droid and making them much more stronger and kind of making them human. And I really do like that concept. All that exposition in the beginning, I did not mind at all. I do think we probably could have jumped to her already in the adult body. And then we find out later, she is a Sith droid, and that's why she was a human, but now she's a Sith droid, and like how she's explaining to the kids, and we could get to that conclusion that way, as opposed to seeing her as a child, seeing her get through that transformation. Because when we get to the montage portion in episode 1, where all the other kids are turning as well, it did feel a little redundant in some ways. As opposed to, again, I think if we already see her in the Sith body, and while she is talking to the kids, then we realize, she was a person. Well, how did they do this? She'll show them. She takes them to the Neverland room. Really like the touch of Peter Pan showing at the top. He's even reading Neverland to them. That was a little too on the nose for me. I was like, okay, I get it, we're in Neverland. The episode's called Neverland. You have Peter Pan showing on the big screen, and now you're reading them Neverland. Let's just calm down. Or you're reading them Peter Pan, but let's just calm down with the references on that point. But, if we would have done that, where she's already human and she shows the kids where this room is, and then we get that montage, again, I just think there's a little bit of better flow when it comes to it. But then after that, everything we do is pretty good. I like watching her brother. I like the alien crash site. I'm not sure. I think all of episode 2 is in the crash site, but this is where it starts to get a little hazy for me on what was with episode 1, episode 2, because I do believe the search and rescue crew go to not hunt, but the search and rescue people, and they go on the ship, and then we meet our android again. I think if we say for him to be like, oh, there was a survivor, because Alien Romulus kind of did this a little bit too, where they go into the ship and a whole alien movie happened here, and we just don't know about it. But their Sith droid got kind of messed up. This one is perfectly functional, and again, we could play with that a little bit. I would have been fine not seeing the alien at all in episode 1. I know he's coming throughout at some point. I don't necessarily need him in episode 1. I'm getting 8 hours. We should use him sparingly here, because I do think in some spots with the Xenomorph, he was just too glossy for me, a little too clean. And yeah, sometimes you could tell it was a guy in a puppet. Now, I think that is expected when it comes to a television show. For the most part, I think the Xenomorph looked good. But I think if we use him more sparingly throughout, I think, again, you're just running a risk of overexposure, and I'm already kind of feeling that within this episode. But yeah, I do believe they go in. We don't see the Xenomorph at all. We get some touches of it, but then if we show the Sith droid after that, like, oh, did he do all this? And of course he didn't. Well, in a way he did. But you know what I am trying to say. Again, I just think there were some better executions, and that whole beginning portion to me was just a little too ham-fisted for me, a little too overdone on the exposition, for that matter, where again, I am much more about the show, don't tell, and again, that beginning portion just really felt like a lot of tell. But then after that, again, I think the episode sung pretty well too. The only other minor problems I had with this episode, and this is like very, very nitpicky stuff at this point. I guess the other stuff was pretty nitpicky too, but I just don't understand it, because it's not just this show. Like the Orville, if you've seen another Hulu original, well, not Hulu original, but it's on Hulu. Season 3 is a Hulu original. Anyway, but in the Orville, takes place 1,000 years within the future, but yet they watch all these old shows and all these old movies, and these are all the metaphors that they are doing. I think Star Trek does it too, where again, it takes place in the future, but they watch all these old movies, they watch all these old shows. Here they do it too, like they're watching Ice Age Continental Drift, and they're looking at sports, I believe it's Barry Bonds? No, it's not Barry Bonds. I don't remember the baseball game and the baseball player that in the moment that they were talking about. But granted, good movie, Ice Age Continental Drift. I think I'm going to make that the thumbnail of our main girl and Sid being in the same frame. It's just absolute pure cinema to me, unless I can find the Xenomorph somewhere. But and then the baseball moment is a really big baseball moment. But you're like so many years within the future. Surely you're still making movies, and surely there are still sports going on, that there are moments from your actual childhood that are actually big time things. Just make stuff up. You know what I mean? The movies I kind of get, because, it's a way to communicate some themes that they're trying to portray, which I still don't know what Ice Age has to deal with Alien. But anyway, movies I could kind of forgive. But sports moment, you can just make up a player, and you can make up a moment that was like iconic to this young guy as a child. But again, those are very, very minor problems when it compares to the whole entire scope of the show. The only other issue I had was the guy that was having a party, and during this party, I guess this party was so lit that they did not realize that an alien spaceship crashed in, and it was just done for comedic effect. And sometimes I don't mind that, you got to be funny within your show. Like, you have to have comedy in some way, shape, or form in all projects, whether it be a drama, horror, sci-fi, television, whatever. There has to be some comedy. That was a little too forced to me. But yeah, besides that, again, everything was great. I know I'm kind of dogging on these first 2 episodes quite a bit, but those were the only things that really called out to me. And again, for the most part, my issues are just within structure, that beginning portion, and again, those 2 minor things with, when it comes to pop culture within this time frame, and a guy having a party. But the characters I really like. Again, I really like the idea of a human going to a Sith droid, and that's their now body, and trying to understand all that. And this idea of it being kids, and like all these adults are acting very kid-like, and they just have this sense of wonder, and they still have the fear, but yet they're still so like, oh yeah, we're gonna be okay, and doing all these different things within them. That's pretty cool. I like the idea of the brother too. Really curious to see how that dynamic continues, because I don't think the brother died at the end of episode 2. Now that he realizes his sister is not gone, man, I loved that moment where, what was the last thing I said to you before I never saw you again? Then she says it was something about like, her big toe is bigger than her pinky or something like that, and they just share a hug. Like, it's just an absurd line, but it meant so much to him. Really liked that moment as well. I also kind of like the politics angle of it too, of this our bad guy, who I would assume is going to get eaten by a xenomorph in some way, shape, or form, because that xenomorph's game to Neverland at one in some way, shape, or form. That he's going, no, well, it's in my area, so we get to clean it first. Oh, well, I really need it because it's her ship, and it's her studies that are doing it, and she's probably the one that's over this, the actual droid that is trying to get the xenomorph off the ship and deliver it to her. And that's the other thing, like, they're saying there's 5 different companies, but it seems like we're only going to focus on 2. But again, we'll see how the progression goes with that. I like that angle quite a bit. I also like the angle, but just within Neverland, of this older doctor who really does care about the kids / droids. And then Timothy Oliphant is also going to be great and everything too, and being like this leader and like doing the mission and understanding where everyone is coming from, but yet very much, look, you're not human. You shouldn't have fear. Let's move on. I like that element as well. And again, the search and rescue team, I hope we get to know them a little bit more too. I don't really have commentative or positives to say about them. But, I like the performances that I saw so far. So yeah, I'm in. I'm really much in on the show. I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. Again, just minor problems. I know I criticized the 2 episodes a little bit here for this opening video. I could not find the words to save my life. But again, overall, I really did like the first 2 episodes, besides the points that I've already made. But let me know your thoughts about it down in the comment section. Leave a like if you made it this far within a review. I do greatly appreciate it. And again, hit that subscribe button, as I am trying to go into my YouTube career as we go on this journey together. Until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios. Don't forget to squeeze the day, because life is too short to not give it your all. So squeeze every opportunity you can. I'll see y'all next time.